Let me tell you a little bit about Nick. She worked for big and small agencies for several years before meeting a colleague by the name of Jerry Hopkinson. And together they had a vision to do things differently. And in 2005, they took the leap and they set up Unity. And I think it's fair to say, it's no exaggeration, that last year Unity was everywhere, winning just about every award. Everyone's nodding here. Just about every award there is to win. I can't list them all, there's too many, but a couple to make note of. Unity was named Best Consumer PR Agency in the World at the Global Sabre Awards. It also picked up Best Campaign in the World and Most Creative PR Agency in the World. It's pretty good. So over to Nick to talk about one of the campaigns that actually attracted a lot of global attention.
Thank you. I'll slip you that fiver shortly. My esteemed panellists here have done an amazing job of explaining the kind of secrets to award wins. What I'm actually going to do is effectively talk you through an entry, because exactly like you guys said, we haven't compared notes, but you need humour, it needs a story, it needs to have kind of jeopardy. All the things that kind of attract consumers' attention about the work that we actually do, you need to put in an entry as well. You need literally to them not being able to wait to the next paragraph to see the secret that's going to come out of it. So I'm going to talk you through that, but a bit of context. Mickey will laugh knowingly at this, but it's an addiction for me, awards. and it's proved right. From day one when we launched Unity, we wanted to go out there and let our work do the talking. We didn't want to cleverly market ourselves. We wanted to say we do the best work in the country, and here it is. So I'm giving away my secrets here, but for me, I would never dream of entering 2 categories at any award ceremony. I will enter 20, because unless we win everything, unless we're shortlisted 20 times, I see it as a failure. That's not anything I put on my team, it's a personal thing. We went for 18 Golden Hedgehog Awards, but it's intentional. It's because we want every single client, when they're making a pitch decision, to go, who was that agency that's name was repeated over and over and over at each of those awards ceremony. So we pick 5 things we go for, and then we go for them with real kind of gusto. One of my biggest professional regrets was actually the Cannes Lions this year. It's the first time we entered it. And as I say, I take it incredibly seriously. I treat it as if it's one of my most prestigious clients. I give it that much love, the kind of attention to detail in entering the awards. But I decided to enter the Cannes Lions last minute. I had a 1-month-old baby, and I didn't give it the attention I normally would. And I was really proud. We got 3 finalist positions, but it was a missed opportunity. We stuck in a film we made on the day. It didn't have any of the results. I didn't do what I do normally, and I regret that, because I would have loved to be kind of up there with Mickey of having actually have won one last year. But this year, I'll have a 13-month-old baby. I can work around that. Anyway, as I said, I'll talk you kind of through this as we kind of almost tell the story in award entry. M&S. Love them as a client, but they have given me some pain over the years. 2011, on the 23rd of December, when they sent us a brief out of the blue, would you like to pitch on the 3rd of January? Oh, marvellous, thank you for that. I wasn't even meant to be back at work till the 7th. Clearly I cleared the decks. Then an hour after pitching, we got the call to say we'd won. We needed to launch in April. It was this new kind of groundbreaking idea as part of Plan A. To really combat the mountains of kind of clothes that ends up in landfill, which is kind of pretty horrifying when you see it all. They wanted to create a kind of buy one, give one culture. So every time you bought something new at M&S, they're encouraging you to take an item of clothing back, so it could be reused, recycled, or resold in some format or another. And the key thing was it didn't have to be an M&S item, it could be from anywhere. So we had a really big, brave, bold plan. We went for it. A couple of months in, the client turned around and said, sorry, we're pulling the whole thing. We can't make that idea happen because it involved making some major changes to how the business was run. He said, you've got 6 weeks, we need to start from scratch again. So everything I'm about to show you was kind of conceived, planned, delivered and executed within a 6-week period, and I'm incredibly proud of that, considering the agency at the time was about 25 people and we did the whole thing in-house. So, kind of strategically, we kind of love this idea of the magic of transformation, this kind of alchemy effect of turning base metal to gold, because the whole point is, your old kind of t-shirt from Primark means nothing to you, but it could mean something else to people, the planet and people living in poverty. how the clothes would be used when they were swapped would either be resold via Oxfam, reused by literally being broken down to the constituent parts and going back into the kind of clothing cycle. Amazing. So your old woolly socks could become a jumper sold at M&S for £80, or recycled. So clothes that literally couldn't be used in any other way would end up becoming kind of roof insulation or used in the stuffing of cars. Really good and really clever. We knew we needed to make the clothes the stars because, great pictures, but also, they're at the heart of the story. And we also, loved this notion. We kept going back to, a picture tells 1,000 words, and we wondered whether a picture could tell 9,315 stories. The reason that number comes up is 9,513 items of clothing is just 5 minutes worth of UK clothing waste. So it was a really simple way of us kind of highlighting the problem. So the problem of clothing waste, all the items you see there is literally what's thrown away in the UK within 5 minutes. So really, really, really simple. In one picture, we kind of landed that message. But most importantly, we also told the solution. This was effectively a walk-in press release that Joanna Lumley, who's a Plan A ambassador, and the CEO, Mark Bolland, could talk the media through. They could say, see this coat hanging up here. This is actually made of recycled wool. This is potentially what your old socks could become. See this car covered in clothes. Your old underpants that no one's going to want to buy at, I said the word underpants, at Oxfam can be reused this way. So it became this kind of, walk-in press release, but that told the story. I think Mickey mentioned the kind of tell the things that go wrong. We absolutely did within this. We had some, horrors. It took 3 days to get all the clothes on the building. Joey Essex was tweeting about it. Everyone was tweeting about it because it was up there. And it was like, how do we control the story? How do we stop it becoming a story before we're ready to release it? And particularly as, this was under such strict kind of NDA. So we intentionally kept part of it covered and to make sure there wasn't enough of a picture story, but whilst maintaining the buzz. Also, again, I don't know what, the three of us, it's just, we're being punished, but it was gale force winds that day. I was on site at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was just like, it was terrifying as well, because wet clothes are heavy. And so there was all, my team, the head of creative services at Unity literally kind of went grey overnight because of the fear of, the kind of engineering aspects of what we'd created. Needless to say, kind of all was fine. But in our award entry, we absolutely kind of laboured these points, because as well as making an interesting story, it shows that you're smart, because you've thought all these things through. You've covered every base before they could potentially happen. By 10 o'clock, the kind of online pieces started to kind of come through. And by 11 o'clock, we had 3 national trending topics in Swapping M&S and Joanna Lumley. So kind of, we knew we were onto something. But M&S are also old school, and we knew unless we got print coverage the next day, it would count for nothing. Again, Mickey said this, it's about the devil is in the detail. We'd reached out to kind of our influencer base, kind of well in advance, unable to tell them why, what, how, but had asked them to donate items of clothing, everything from Caroline Flack to Daisy Lowe to Sarah Cox to, we got Livia Firth's dress that she wore to meet Barack Obama. They didn't know why they were donating it, but they just did. And what we did is add these items to that big picture. And what it meant is the day of launch, we just took a picture of their item and then took a picture of, the big picture and sent it to them, retweeted and tweeted it to them. And of course, because it was kind of flattery that their items were part of this bigger story, they retweeted, and that's what then created that huge amount of social buzz and energy behind it. If that wasn't enough of stress within 6 weeks, over here, this corner here, we actually set up a Schwab lab, which was an experimental clothing space that was open for 1 week, and that was designed to basically explore the future of clothes. If the first story, the picture story, was designed to hit the mass market, this was about targeting alpha influencers who would then encourage others to swap, so kind of on the influencer pyramid. And we did a week's worth of activity, everything from kind of politicians and Lucy Siegel, an environmental journalist, debating the future of fashion, to having designers like Gary Harvey setting blogger challenges and getting fashion students running around London and recreating things with old swap clothes. Literally kind of fully programmed 5 events a day over a week, which just meant it just continued the buzz, the kind of discussion. And of course, we kicked that off that very night. with a celeb party. This was also a major challenge, people, because clearly my hair was in quite a terrible state by the time I'd been at our photo call all day. But Joanna Lumley's hairdresser stuck around and luckily sorted it out. So, we were all pretty tired at this point, but we put on a kind of classic celeb party, except they didn't get in unless they swapped an item of clothing, so we had people literally removing socks and scarves and things and contributing. It was just another layer. It's the layer that ensures that no matter where you are in the country or in the world, in some instance, is that day that you kind of experience it. Yeah, and this is the program that we did for the Schwab Lab. And did it work? I mean, yes, the next day, huge sigh of relief when we woke up and it was absolutely everywhere, front page. The Times, we hit every single national. It was no doubt that it was effective, but what we've all said here over and over is this means nothing unless it actually has an action at the end of it. And we were absolutely delighted that 86,000 items of clothing had been donated by the end of the 3 weeks. But we also knew at this point that we needed to justify our role within this as opposed to the above the line that had run with it. So again, we invested £2,000 of our own money to do an independent survey to ask people if they'd seen a specific activity, and 53% of the country had, so we knew we had a winner. And I guess my greatest point of pride is that it was at that point that M&S's marketing team decided to just retain Unity ongoing for shopping, and since launch we've been the sole kind of marketing discipline pushing it. I don't know how I'm doing. Have I got a minute?
You're fine, keep going. Yeah, absolutely.
So I love this case study because it doesn't end here. It's still going, it's still winning awards, it's still it's still making the difference, and I'm super proud of that. So what we did beyond that is the budgets got dramatically kind of reduced because we'd had our big moment. And it was essentially a shopping bag of kind of classic PR tactics, just an example of hard-working media relations, low cost that just makes a difference. And tapping onto kind of cultural moments, this was timed with the Olympics. It's just a flag made of swapped clothes by local students, and it was created in the time it took for one of the Olympians to run some form of race, not a sports fan. I'll stick with the clothes, thank you. But, it's not a big idea, super cheap to execute, like you were saying. It's not always about, the money, but it just got included in that roundup coverage. Again, spotting opportunities. That year at Wimbledon, there was a huge hoo-ha because they'd really upped the kind of dress codes, and if you turned up at Wimbledon in jeans, they wouldn't let you in. So such a simple opportunity. We just kind of went to an M&S store, got a load of clothes on a rack, went down there, blagged our way in. We didn't have tickets, we didn't have anything. Got some t-shirts, mocked up, and basically allowed people to swap their jeans for a pair of M&S trousers they could get in. It's just little smart tactics like that create social media kind of chatter and then get included in the roundup of, what's gone on in Wimbledon that day. This was a really proud moment because it was just like the stuff we were doing was making a difference. A few months later, we launched this coat. It was actually made from, people's old items that they had swapped, which is just incredible to see the full life cycle. Again, super cheap photo story here, and we intentionally did it against a wall of clothes because we wanted people to have that kind of mental connection between this and the launch story from a few months previously. It got used so many times. I mean, it was covered in Metro twice. It was in pretty much every national. I think it got used nearly 300 times or something in media. Again, very, very simple. Models not wearing much. Acting sheep, apparently trained at Barda. On Oxford Street outside an M&S store, I actually own the of that, which I wear on a fat day, shall we say. But a really simple join the flock Schwab, and just designed, again, around another moment, which was Wool Week. This just went everywhere. Again, it went round the globe. Actually, in our launch story, went round the globe as well. But yeah, it's just amazing that it's just a cheap, simple idea. And again, also rocking the Santa suit idea. Loads of people get Santa suits for Christmas. There is a logical reason why they can swap them. We just did a simple story, and because it was kind of silly season, it just went everywhere. But we timed it with basic research story, which revealed the concept of present face, which is the face you reveal when you open a present and you actually hate what you've been given. And then we got an acting coach to create a piece of video content that we released, which was to train you as to how to kind of control your present face. And then we did, of course, tapped into the whole thing of Christmas jumpers, got the likes of Philip Schofield, Peaches, Gold, etc. We just got old jumpers, sent them to them, they retweeted it again. It's just these little things that just make magic. And then last year we did the swap shop. So all those celebrity items we'd sourced to launch the campaign and we'd collected over time. We then just created a little pop-up shop in Marble Arch. And again, hugely effective. It's just the little touches again of getting Joanna Lumley to literally kind of storm all the fashion houses and the fashion cupboards of fashion media, you know, literally nicking all their stuff and adding it to this just to create that social media chatter, get kind of the pre-promotion around it. And this was, you know, huge, the amount of column inches and the amount of social buzz that we created around that. And then some, you know, simple things as well, like a simple press trip for Joanna Lumley to Senegal to see what was actually happening. We've got the word schwab on the front page of the Telegraph. You know, 10-minute piece on the One show, and the third exclusive was with Women's Hour. Just kind of hard-working media relations, really. And you know, I'm pretty proud, really. My biggest point of pride with this was for M&S for 2 years running, and I'm so going for year number 3. We won the Marketing Communications Consumer Fees over 100K at the PR Week Awards. And when I launched Unity, that was the award I always cared about. And to win it 2 years in a row for the same client just means so, so much. And also for a client like M&S, which is all about, you know, pride and prestige, it kind of goes such a long way. Yeah, and there you have it. Thank you, everyone.
Fantastic. Thanks, Nick.